The Department of Homeland Security has selected its next state as the next resettlement state for illegal immigrants. That's right, Tennessee is the state, guys. Tennessee. Biden's great replacement plan is unfolding exactly as planned. The Department of Homeland Security has sent letters to the mayors of Tennessee cities, letting them know to get ready and get prepared. Illegal immigrants will be resettled in Tennessee. Watch.
Most of them coming from Guatemala, Venezuela, Honduras, and Mexico.
It's very troubling that, someone can come to this country, name Nashville or Greater Nashville as a destination, and we're not finding out about it for months later.
U.S. Congressman Andy Ogles telling Fox 17 News that he had a conference call with DHS yesterday with a series of questions, including a request for updated numbers, how people will be tracked, and if they have prior convictions.
They didn't have any good answers.
The notice says DHS may release non-citizens from custody who have been fully screened and vetted pending the outcome of their immigration process. They'll also have check-ins with ICE.
Going through the process correctly would mean applying for some sort of visa, and so coming across the border and wanting to be processed and claiming asylum we've clearly hit the threshold where we can't allow that anymore.
So they'll do check-ins with ICE, right? As we know from J.J. Carroll's book, Invaded, these check-ins are required and they're laughable. I mean, ICE, of course, under the Department of Homeland Security, they're overwhelmed. They're supposed to check in voluntarily and come and check in with them and then await some sort of a court date later on.
Well, and what they're not telling us is what the wait times are for those court dates. By some measures in certain government agencies, it's up to 6 years. So what do they do in the meantime?
The asylum judges, basically 6 years, that's a minimum. Even JJ writes about this. He says, he thinks that number is well higher than 6 years.
Sure.
They're so overwhelmed. 6 years? So what happens is they get asylum. They're then in the United States. And what the Biden administration has done has allowed them to come in instead of going to ports of entry and wait to come in. No, they're allowed. The Biden administration is allowing them to come in and set up shop inside of the United States. Normally, they would have to go to a port of entry and be turned away and await their court date before they can have this meeting. Go ahead, David.
I was going to say, how else are they going to turn Tennessee blue?
Exactly.
That's the point.
You're one step ahead of me here.
Oh.
So they come in, they tell the Border Patrol, send me to Tennessee. And I love that they get to tell them. They're given an iPhone, they're given free food, they're given money, and they're given an iPhone. And they can tell them where they want to go in the United States. They can tell Customs and Border Patrol, I'd like to go to Tennessee. Wouldn't that be nice? You could just free travel wherever you want to go across the United States. They plan, of course, to resettle these areas, making them Democrat voters. See, David was psychically already predicting where this is going in key districts here. So, again, all you need is a few thousand people in each district to swing an election. President Donald Trump won Tennessee, right? So that's a great city. That's a great area to target for Democrats, to turn Tennessee blue. All you need is a few thousand people. And look at these districts. Here's where you need to turn a few of these cities. They're already doing it in Nashville. They need Knoxville. They need Chattanooga. And they need these other areas now, and these other districts where there are very few people would sway a district in one particular direction or another. It's all you need, just a few thousand people scattered here and there strategically. Brilliant move. Illegal alien influencer. Can you imagine that? Like, you're an influencer, I don't know, we're a news influencer. I don't know. But imagine being an illegal alien influencer, which is what this guy is. He thanks Daddy Biden for all of this.
En Estados Unidos, mira, qué belleza. Feliz y contento porque a los venezolanos le está yendo bien, porque las fronteras están abiertas 24/7. Muchachos, tienen que sacar malas noticias para sentirse feliz y contento. No, las cosas no son así. ¿Sí me entienden? Y bueno, yo como ya voy a tener mi nacionalidad porque mi papá Biden está activo 24/7, mira.
Yeah, Daddy Biden.
Why don't you have a shirt then?
He doesn't need a shirt. He's warm. He's hot. So he's also, by the way, the same guy that let everyone know around the world how to squat in people's homes. You'll recall that video from last week, and which has gone viral. Here, come into these homes in the United States and squat in these particular homes. And because of squatters' laws, you will have a right to those properties, and it's almost impossible for them to kick you out.
Only because that went viral now, he says he's getting threats and he had to change the name of his channel.
Yeah, he switched. He was crying about his channel got taken down, and then he now started a new channel.
Yeah.
I loved a response, though, on social media was like, hey, if you're going to illegally squat in people's homes, here's the key. Go to the yard, and if you see a Biden, Kamala Harris yard sign, that's the home you want to go to.
Do it there.
Do it there.
They're okay with it.
Yeah, they're okay with it. I'm sure they'd welcome you in with open arms, by the way. So
because those lawn signs that people put out, we believe in this house, love is love. We believe no person is illegal.
So that's
the sign.
Yeah, that should be a sign. Go to those liberal homes.
They are saying so.
Yeah, they're saying.
So go ahead, go there.
Yeah, knock on their door, or don't, or when they're not home. Do whatever you're going to do, I guess.
Well, you should do it while they're home. Just walk on in.
Yeah. See how they respond to that. It's just like the sanctuary cities, right? Where these cities, of course, we're a sanctuary city. Come to our city until you can't. Like Mayor Eric Adams, of course, who was just totally overwhelmed by this, and of course the mayor of Denver, Colorado, who then started sending illegal immigrants out of Denver, Colorado, because they couldn't handle it. So Yale, MIT just conducted a study that says it's 22 million, not 11 million undocumented immigrants in the United States. 22 million.
Now, doing some quick math.
Now
that's double.
By the way, this study is from 2018.
Oh, okay.
So now this study is from 2018 when we were hearing there was 11 million here. The numbers are close to 50 million. 50 million. So that study from 2018, 6 years ago. Liberals, of course, on MSNBC will tell you that this is not happening and there's no great replacement plan at all. Of course, they're lying to you, and Biden told us right to our faces exactly what the plan was years ago, just like they told you how they would, how they were going to blow up the Nord Stream pipeline. Here was Biden telling us the plan.
An unrelenting stream of immigration, nonstop. Folks like me who were Caucasian of European descent, for the first time in 2017, we'll be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. Fewer than 50% of the people in America from then and on will be white European stock. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
A source of our strength. Right. It's not about diversity, and I think most Americans are not racist at all. I think we welcome all Americans of all different colors of skin. Right. But it's when you have an invasion from countries that don't share your values, don't speak your language, don't share your customs, don't share your community customs, where to criminality. This is not something we tolerate in our communities. That's where we put our foot down.
Right.
Kind of like Ukraine.
What do you mean?
I mean, like the values. We support their values, but their values they're like one of the most corrupt. It was a joke. One of the most corrupt countries in the.
I got it. I had to stretch for your joke there, but
sorry.
But I mean, you think about it, right? It's not about the color. It's not about the color of the skin. It's not about whether you're Asian or black. It's about the fact that you're literally from another country and you don't even speak the language and you don't share our customs and our social mores, and you come in and basically destroy a community.
And who should get a vote into what that community then is? And so we see how the Democratic Party has courted black voters and then how they treat them, right? You can live in squalor. You can have people on drugs in your neighborhood with guns and drugs and violence. We don't care. We won't arrest you because we think that's racist. So you go ahead and live just like that. That's fine. Vote Democratic. So, any kind of Latins who are immigrating into the United States and by this, Democrats are for immigrants, are going to find out in short order, 1 or 2 generations later, how that is absolutely not true.
Right. And as J.J. Carroll points out in his book, also, he points out that when these immigrants, illegal immigrants, have come into the country and they've been there for, 10 years, they find out, wow, that they've actually lost their job to other illegal immigrants. that this idea of finding prosperity is also being hindered by the very same people that they were years ago coming in illegally. So those very same people, Americans, are losing their jobs to illegal immigrants, and even illegal immigrants who've been here for 5-6 years and have these jobs are losing their jobs to illegal immigrants. So the very same people are taking those jobs away. So whites will be an absolute minority. That's the source of our strength, he says. The best example of this plan is now unfolding in Michigan, by the way, where they just rolled out their plan for illegal resettlement. This is the state of Michigan just rolled out their plan for illegal resettlement. The state of Michigan has a new program called the Newcomer Rental Subsidy Program that you can read about right on their website. Just go to michigan.gov and you can read all about it, and you can even file your application. It's called the Refugees and Newcomer Population Eligible Households. You'll get $500 per month for up to 12 months with eligibility based on immigration status and household income. Here are all the different formats you can do if you're Ukrainian, Spanish, Pashto, if you're Haitian, Arabic, all of that is right there. If you're an asylee, or a refugee, you get status. Afghan nationals, victims of human trafficking, all of that. Under 80, you have to match these guidelines under 85% of federal poverty limit, so you can't have any money at all, basically. You can't qualify if you have any kind of savings, is basically what happens. If you're Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, Venezuelan, come on right in. So Rachel Maddow, we're not making this up. The state of Michigan will use Michigan tax dollars to resettle illegal immigrants into Michigan rental properties. And I know that MSNBC likes to say that this is all fakery. Rachel Maddow says that you're just being a xenophobe. This is happening. Have you seen a clearer example of replacement theory in action? We will bring you in and pay for your housing. We'll pay for your housing in these communities on top of that.
So because I'm in the near future planning a move to Michigan. So if I just go on a huge spending spree, like kill off my savings, they'll move me there for free, or is it just because I speak?
No, because you're an American citizen, so you don't get access to this free housing program. You have to be an illegal.
Nice.
You have to be an illegal.
But
immigrant.
if you flew down through Baja and then came back around up through Mexico, possibly,
and pretend you have no ID.
Yeah, pretend you have no ID and claim that you are here on asylum. Maybe that's how you could get free housing in Michigan. So you wouldn't have to pay for it. But as an American citizen, you'll have to pay for it.
Well, Philip maybe can pass for Latin. He doesn't let us see his face, so we don't know.
We have Costa Rican descent. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's actually seen his face, so possibly he could pass.
Yeah. So, but sadly, as an American citizen, you don't get access to this program here. So unfortunately, why is this happening? Well, Michigan is losing workers and population thanks to lack of jobs and high crime. It's been happening for years in Michigan. Can Michigan defuse its population time bomb? See how far we fall short is the headline. And demographers and economists have been raising the alarm about Michigan's population time bomb for years. Michigan is short of workers everywhere, from its schools and hospitals to local Coney Island. It faces up an uphill battle to attract new businesses from out of state because of labor uncertainty. Fewer workers leads to diminished tax revenue, which leaves less money to preserve parks, protect residents, and fix potholes. The average resident driving on those roads is older, sicker, and poorer than a decade ago. So while Michigan is starting to slightly turn this around, actually, their numbers are slowly climbing back up. Why? Thanks to illegal immigrants. Michigan's population inches up as death falls and immigration climbs. Of course, COVID related, that's the issue. And now those have been falling off, and now we have immigration climbing in Michigan thanks to the resettlement opportunities there. So they're excited about this. Those losses were offset this year by a spike in immigration as 22,000 people moved to Michigan. That's the most since 2018. We cannot address our population issues without immigration, says Steve Tabokaman, executive director of Global Detroit, a nonprofit that advocates for immigration as an economic growth strategy. But what if they're not actually doing anything to increase the tax base? They're not doing anything but taking money from the tax base. How is that sustainable? But I guess under the Biden administration, that doesn't matter. We can continue to print as much money as possible and keep taking from it, but not replenishing it with any sort of, growth. So the resettlement plan is working, but of course, ignore all the crime. This is Michigan. This happened on Friday. A woman shot in the head. This was on Friday. She was shot in the head. Her car stolen by an illegal immigrant. Here he is, 25-year-old illegal immigrant from Mexico. And AOC and Bernie Sanders look to take things one step further and make sure that housing is available to anyone. They're rolling out the Green New Deal for housing. They just announced, and they made the announcement in front of the Capitol.
It is a beautiful, sunny day in March, and it's a little cold, a little chilly, but we are here because we are reintroducing the Green New Deal for public housing today.
Yeah, nothing to see here, no problems here, right? So here's what AOC, she goes into some details about it here. Take a look about some of the little nuggets that are in this Green New Deal for housing.
We have to return to an era of rebuilding public housing in the United States. A different world is not only possible, a different world is arriving today. That's right. The Green New Deal for public housing would immediately replenish the multi-billion-dollar backlog for public housing repairs. It would repeal the Fair Cloth Amendment. It would invest up to $234 billion over 10 years to preserve, upgrade, and expand our public housing stock. It would bring public housing down to zero carbon emissions while creating 280,000 jobs in America. Yeah. It would end the era of government neglect, demolition, and privatization of our public housing stock. This bill also addresses unsustainable rent prices.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the United States government has done an amazing job with public housing over the years, right? So much, we call them the projects, right? Go to Cabrini Green and think about how many people have been sort of segregated into these like crime-ridden public housing projects that are a disaster for communities. And it's been, the reason they started to privatize it is because it was a disaster.
Yes.
Right? And as Ronald Reagan said, anytime the government says, you know, the famous words, I'm with the government and I'm here to help.
Right.
They are not good at housing.
It's literally like the ghettos, you know, of old in the, what was it, the 30s or whatever, or 20s, the ghettos in
the Jewish
Italy
ghettos?
In Poland?
Ghettos and all those. Yeah. Poland.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you think about any service, right? Let's think about you go down to a government service to, change your last name on your Social Security because you get married. That's an arduous process. I've done it. Or you're going to get a driver's license or anything that's run by the government. And your initial reaction is, ugh, I'm going to have to go down to a government office. And it's not going to be efficient. And then think about any other private service that you go and you will automatically know that you're going to have a better experience no matter what, because private business is more incentivized to have customer service, to make it an easier experience, to make something efficient. The government never is. Never.
No, it never is. And when you start to read the fine print on the HUD's guidelines here under this Green New Deal, and we still don't have all of the pieces of this, but if you look at the HUD guidelines, non-eligibility or eligibility for non-citizens is right there. Most non-citizens with permanent status are eligible for assistance, which means AOC, Bernie Sanders, Green New Deal for housing, very likely, depends on how this all shakes out and actually gets passed by the Biden administration, but he spoke about it during the State of the Union address. He wants this. How will this unfold? This will very likely, with these asylum, the asylum programs and the parolees that are running rampant in the United States under the Biden administration, they will get free public housing under the AOC's Green New Deal for housing.
And then what happens when those become disrepaired, when those fall into disrepair? Who will pay for it? The taxpayers, because there will be no security deposit that we can then use.
No, they'll get free housing
to fix up whatever is broken.
And we're paying for it now. Like we'll pay to build them,
and we'll pay to maintain them.
We'll pay to maintain them, and then when they fall into disrepair, we'll move them to a nicer, newer spot.
Okay.
So this is the United States of America right now. The Great Replacement Plan is unfolding. Let us know your thoughts on this in the comments below. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. You know, YouTube thinks that you'll actually like this next video right here. It's personalized based on your own viewing habits. So if you watch the video, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think about it. And we will see you next time, everyone.